This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Hey guys, Big Paul here today, and we are going to go over essential tools for meal prep. I just assume people know this shit, and I probably shouldn't. I've had so many people reach out to me and ask me how to meal prep and do all this stuff, and I figured I'd go over the basics, what tools I use and what I find to be important for meal prep. We're going to talk about it today, set you straight so you're ready to meal prep like a pro, or at least like Paul does. But anyway, so let's dig into it. So things that I find essential for meal prep, the single most important tool that you need if you're going to meal prep like a bodybuilder is to get a food scale. I like these big flat ones like you see here, so I can put my plates on them. The ones that are kind of round and have the round tops on them don't work very well with some of the dishes and plates and shit that I use. I weigh everything. Everything I eat gets weighed. I can't tell you how important that is. People don't want to hear it, but the magic is in the diet. It doesn't matter what gear you take if you're not tracking your diet and weighing your food. And how do you know what you're eating if you aren't weighing your food and measuring your food? Measuring your food is very important, and having a good food scale is the first step. You can pick one of these up off of Amazon. They're like 20 bucks. You can even get them cheaper if you want to go cheaper. I get like kind of the middle of the road ones. They last like a year or two and then they fucking break and I have to get another one. But I keep two of them on hand at all times just in case one breaks, because I am that anal, but you don't have to be as anal and uptight as I am. As OCD as I am. So get a food scale. Make sure that it also does gram measurements as well. I do gram measurements, not ounces, because it is a smaller measurement. You can make more accurate measurements if you're doing things out in grams. That's just how I weigh things. Plus, we're not cavemen. This is the only country in the world, really, maybe England, that still weighs things in fucking ounces. Let's measure in grams, people. Measuring cups and measuring spoons. This is another thing. I typically weigh everything anymore, but measuring cups and measuring spoons are important as well. So, if I'm measuring out my rice to put in my rice cooker, I use the measuring cup. If, sometimes when I'm measuring out my oils, I measure those out with the measuring spoon. Peanut butter, you want a rude awakening? See what a tablespoon of peanut butter really looks like. Everybody thinks they're eating a tablespoon of peanut butter and they're really eating 5. You'll be in for a rude awakening, and then you'll know why you're not losing body fat when you eat peanut butter. A tablespoon of real tablespoon of peanut butter is woefully small. So whatever works for you. I like the metal ones because I'm OCD. But you can get the cheap plastic ones, whatever. But measuring cups and measuring spoons, once again, tools to measure with. A really good non-stick pan. I can't stress how important a non-stick pan is. So that way you don't have to oil your pan when you cook food. I get so many people that I work with on diets that, can't figure out why they're losing weight. And then they tell me they're putting vegetable oil and shit on pans when they're frying their hamburger, their steak, their chicken, or whatever. Don't do that. Either grill your stuff, bake it, or get a non-stick frying pan. I will tell you, with the non-stick frying pan, spend a little extra money and get the Califans. Every other non-stick pan I've ever gotten only lasts for like a month. The Califans seem to last. I can get a couple of years worth of use out of them if you take care of them properly. One thing I will tell you with the non-stick pans, you can't cook super hot on them. If you turn the burner all the way up, you're going to fuck the coating up on the pan. You want to make sure that you're using plastic utensils in them. You don't want to use metal utensils because they'll scrape off the coating. I know people get worried about the Teflon causing cancer and all that. It's such a small amount of it that's on there. That's probably the least of our worries, with all the gear and shit that we take. But get yourself a non-stick pan. I cook all of my red meat in my non-stick pan. Sometimes I fry my chicken in the non-stick pan, or I'll make stir fry in the non-stick pan. I use a non-stick pan every day, several times a day. A crock pot. If you are a lazy chef, which I am, crock pots are fucking awesome. You can just throw a bunch of chicken in there, make shredded chicken. You can even cook your sweet potatoes in the crock pot. You can make stew in the crock pot in the off season. Sometimes I'll make stew with some potatoes and carrots and beef. Just throw it in there. I mean, you just turn it on low and let it go. I cook all my ground turkey in that 99% sawdust ground turkey. That awful shit that I only eat during contest prep. I cook it in the crock pot with a little bit of chicken broth that kind of helps keep it at least, you know, somewhat palatable. I put it in the crock pot, put it on low, let it cook for a few hours, and it's good to go. It's a little less sawdust like when you cook it in the crock pot than it is when you fry it. Rice cooker. This is an essential tool for a bodybuilder. We eat rice. We eat so much rice. And this is another one where for as much rice as we eat, I would spend a little extra money. Don't get the cheap, shitty rice cooker. I love my Zojirushi rice cooker. It's a Japanese brand. They're $150. Yes, that is expensive for a rice cooker, but I eat rice every goddamn day, and this thing makes perfect, awesome rice. And it also has an extended warm feature. I don't know if you can see it on here, where you can leave your rice in there for like 3 days. And it's still good. I mean, it just makes perfect rice. I've never had a rice cooker that makes perfect rice, and it heats from the bottom and the top, so it's even. Most rice cookers only have an element in the bottom. This has a bottom and top element, so it cooks evenly. Rice just turns out perfect. You can also make porridge in it if you want. I've never tried the porridge, but there is an option in there to make porridge as well. It does a bunch of other stuff as well, but perfect rice. I can't stress enough how awesome the Zojirushi rice cooker is. They should pay me. Meal prep containers. I would think this one's basic, but I get these 50 packs of meal prep containers. I get them at Costco. I think they're like $9. These things are so damn cheap. You know, like if you just go to a friend's house and you don't want to wash it, you can just throw them fucking away. You know, they're 20 cents a piece or whatever they are. You know, I do wash them and reuse them, and they last forever. They're microwavable. You know, I know people get worried about the BPAs and all that shit. I think these are BPA free, but it's, you know, it's such a small amount. When you're taking a shit ton of tren, and then you're worried about the chemicals leaching from the plastic, I think you're probably, you know, you aren't not prioritizing things correctly. But anyway, don't worry about it. I use these. I get these. These are easy to pack things in. Typically when I cook my food, I used to measure out individual meals and stock them all up in the refrigerator. I think that's a rookie mistake with meal prep. Takes up so much room in your refrigerator. What I'll do is cook my meat in bulk. You know, I'll cook like, you know, 10 pounds of chicken or something like that at one time, and just put it in a big tub. Put it in my refrigerator, and then I just measure it out as I need it. Or if I'm going somewhere, I'll just measure out a couple meals rather than having 50 meals prepped out. It saves time doing it that way. I found it to be quicker, do it that way. And, you know, that's how I do it. A cooler with ice packs. I like these shoulder, you know, I don't know if it's specifically this brand. A picture I grabbed, but I have a similar type cooler. I can fit like 3 or 4. I think I can fit 4 of those meal prep containers in there with a cooler, with an ice pack. I don't, you know, I work from home, so I'm not going that long. If you're, you know, somebody that's going to be going from the house for a long time, you may need a bigger one. But a cooler, if you're going to be on the road and meal prepping, taking your food with you, that is important. This is another area where people fuck up on diets, is they you know, they're like, I don't want to bring the food to the office with me. I don't want to bring it to my friend's house with me. And then they only do the diet like 60%. I know it sucks, but if you want to be a bodybuilder, you got to take your food with you everywhere you go. I know it's stupid. Hell, my mom looked at me cross-eyed when I was at her house on Easter, and I, you know, had my tub of rice and chicken with me. She's like, aren't you going to eat Easter dinner? I'm like, I can't, Mom. I'm on contest prep. But that's the life you got to live if you want to be a bodybuilder. If you're just an average Joe, then don't worry about it. But You know, so cooler is essential, especially when it gets warm out in those summer months. We don't want to get food poisoning from eating spoiled chicken. I've been there before. It's no fun. Shaker bottles with measurements on it. I get these Contigo shaker bottles. I love these Contigo shaker bottles. They seem to be bulletproof. They last for fucking ever. They're cheap. I think you can get a couple of them for like 15 bucks on Amazon, and they have measurements, fluid ounce measurements on it, and also milliliters measured on it, so you can measure out your liquids that you're drinking. You know, which if you're drinking stuff that has calories in it, can be important, or if you're towards the end of prep and you're measuring your water, that can also be important. Shaker bottles with measurements. Food service foil. This one seems like a weird one, but I get this Kirkland food service foil at Costco, and I use it every day. And I'll tell you what I use it for. I wrap my potatoes in it when I'm cooking my chicken breasts in the oven, on the pan. I put it down on the pan so I don't have to clean because I'm lazy. I put it in the bottom of my toaster oven, or in my air fryer, so I'm not getting shit all over my air fryer. You know, it's really good for cooking stuff. Wrap my fish in it when I cook my fish. You know, and this stuff is super cheap. I think you can get 500 pieces of it for like 10 bucks. It is one of the things I most commonly use when I'm food prepping. Here is a bonus item. If you have the money to burn, I cannot recommend one of these Ninja air fryer ovens. I think it's Ninja Foodie toaster oven, and you can actually cook a whole fucking chicken in it, roast potatoes. I cook my fish in it. Air fry. I make homemade sweet potato fries sometimes, all these different things you can get creative with. It is badass. It's like 200 bucks. I know it's a little pricey, but if you got the money to burn and you're going to be eating at home all the time and food prepping, it's well worth the money, I think. That's my 2 cents. So I don't eat out. So, if you're not eating out, it doesn't take long to save about 200 bucks to get an air fryer. I use the shit out of my air fryer. All right, guys, that's it. These are kind of my essential tools that I use for food prep. If you're looking to be, get into bodybuilding or just want help, hit me up for coaching. It blows my mind how dudes will go out and spend a bunch of money on gear and food and have no idea what they're doing, and then they won't spend 75 bucks on a coaching call or $120 a month on coaching or whatever it is. So I have the rates on my website at anabolicbodybuilding.com. You can also shoot me an email, bigp3rd@gmail.com. It's all in the video description below. Spend a little money and make sure you're doing shit right. It's not that expensive compared to buying gear in toaster ovens. Why not make sure you're doing shit right? I can help you out. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Once again, I really appreciate everybody that contributes to this channel. If you have questions, put them in the comment section below. Take care.